There's a new me coming out, and I just have to live, and I wanna give. I'm completely positive. I think this time around I am gonna do it like you never knew it. Oh, I'll make it through. The time has come for me to break out of the shell. I have to shout that I am coming out. I'm coming out. I want the world to know.
Welcome to the show, Never Too Late Ever, where we focus on making the next chapter of your life the very best chapter ever. I am your host, Lorraine Hoving, and I am so glad you're here today. This day will change your life. And open your heart, open your ears, and you are going to listen to Rita again. You are going to hear gems that will help you in your life. You will find a treasure that you can apply to your life today. Hi, Rita. Welcome back.
Hi, Lorraine. Good to be here.
I wish I could hug you when I hear your voice there. So let me tell my audience a little bit about Rita. And if you haven't heard last week, you want to go back and listen to her story, because we're going to continue on. When Rita began what became her public story, she was Rita Cretion, wife and business partner of Albert Cretion, my brother, mother of 3 grown sons, Raymond, Dale, and Carl. Now her name is Rita Harter, retiree, widow of Albert, and wife of Dale Harter. She is a first-time author who enjoys sharing her renewed appreciation of life's trials and miracles. Rita was encouraged by her friends and family to share her story of survival. Her source of strength, which we learned last week, is her faith in God. Rita has shared her survival story through speaking engagements to audiences large and small in churches and halls. It is her sincere hope to share her story to inspire others in their faith and their hope, to give them hope through their difficult trials. She has just finished publishing her book called Mother's Day Miracle, the Rita Cretion story, Survival in the Nevada Wilderness. And I just completed that on Mother's Day. So I decided on Mother's Day, it would be appropriate for me to read it. We had just had it for a couple days, and I knew it was going to be an emotional read for me, as my husband and I kind of lived through looking for you along with other family members. And so Rita, last week we ended up talking about, the day to day. You had gone through Easter. Were there ever times where you just wanted to say, God, I give up, I want to go home? Was there ever a time where you just finally wanted to give up? Because as you were speaking last week, you were saying your body, you could feel it getting weaker and weaker. And I knew you had to go down for your water. And so that was a little trip to go back and forth to the water. Was that getting more difficult? And was there a time when you wanted to give up?
Yes, it was my last day. Yeah, I was giving up because I was so weak. And I actually went for water that day. I could barely make it back. And it was painful. My chest was hurting. My heart was throbbing hard. And I was aching at every part of me. Pain in my arms and legs, everything. And I felt like I was going to have a heart attack as far as I could imagine one. And something was going to give. And I knew it was my time. But I did make it back. I'm amazed that I did. And I was very grateful because I didn't want the animals feeding on me, after dying. So I made it back. I had to do a little crawling, but I made it back. And I got myself ready to die. And what it was, I didn't feel like I was giving up on being rescued. I just knew I was dying.
Right.
And
There's a difference. There's a difference. You weren't giving up and saying, hey, I'm done. Your body was about to check out. And so
Yeah.
that's the miracle of this story. Was that the day of your rescue?
Yes.
So tell us about that. So you
Well,
crawled back to the van.
yes, I got in and I say, okay, Lord, it's time. I know I'm dying. And I wasn't crying or sad. I was just relieved. I thought, okay, I get to go to heaven now. I don't have to suffer anymore. And I just prayed that my kids would understand and that they would find me before my body decomposed and all that, so that they could actually see me in reasonable shape as far as looking at me, you know.
Right.
And so I just wrapped myself up in my blankets.
Right.
And I
Right. And tell
said
the audience too that you wrote in a journal every single day from the third day on. Was that correct?
yes,
And why
yes,
did you
I
write in
did.
a journal? Why did you do?
Well, I did. It was more like a paragraph a day, very short, really, because I had
Mhm.
limited paper. I had a little book that I started calling my journal. But because I just thought I was just doing a report, you know, like the weather report, because a lot of it was a rainy day or it's really, really
Yeah.
cold today. But I am fine. Very short and little cues for me, which I didn't realize till I got home, that these little cues were so that I could tell my children more details when I did get home, you know. It wasn't expected to be long.
Right.
And so that is what helped me to remember some of these things I wanted to talk about in eventually a book.
Right.
So I
Right.
didn't know that at the time. It was just like, I'm being a good girl. I'm going to report the details.
Right. Right. So that
Yeah,
day you.
just,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
again, as time went on, I thought, just in case
Right.
I don't make it.
Right. 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 And that day you wrote in the journal before the ATVers came, or?
Yeah, I did. Just a short
Okay.
note, very little. Yeah,
Okay.
just
Okay.
very little. And
Tell
by
us
then
about. Yeah. And
I didn't do the nightly one because
oh.
this was early afternoon, and it was just final. Okay, I have no strength except to wrap myself up and say goodbye to this
Okay.
world.
So you're
And
in.
but
So you're in the
yeah,
blanket, and what happens then?
well, as I folded my hands up, it was wrapped like a roll because my blanket was very short and my feet were sticking out, and I put my white socks on because I'm having my little ceremony, my funeral, and the
Mm.
fan was my casket. And so here I am. I actually started to giggle before I said my final prayer because I don't know if I put that in my book, but it just came back to my memory right now because my feet were straight ahead of me and I was half reclined because the bench isn't long enough. And there I was, imagining myself, I'm in my casket, but I'm not dead yet.
Uh-huh.
And I started to giggle, but I started feeling very excited too. And my
Right.
heart was hurting real bad. So I was trying to think, okay, calm down, Rita. You can't die laughing. You know, you have to be solemn. Okay. So I said my little prayer and I fell asleep very quickly.
Right.
And I didn't
Right.
expect to wake up. I did not
Right.
expect to wake up.
Because you know what? You had recognized the fact that maybe that was the next chapter for you, was moving on to heaven. And it was in some ways an answer. Okay, I'm either in heaven or I'll be rescued. And you had waited all that time to be rescued and it hadn't happened. This makes me cry. This is an amazing timing. So then what happened after you were sleeping?
Well, I don't know how long I slept because I had no idea what time it was. And I didn't have a watch. And my cell phone, I was dead. Okay. It didn't work
A long
anyway.
time ago.
But anyways, what happened next? I heard a noise. It was an ATV noise, and I recognized the noise. And I thought I was dreaming. I didn't know it was real. And next thing you know, I was standing at my side door there with the van door open, and I don't recall how I did that. But
Mm.
there I was. And they were going by already. Two of
Wow.
them passed by, like ignoring me. And I thought, oh my goodness, they don't even know I'm here. And I actually, oh, am I alive or is this real? Can they see me? So I started
Right.
waiting frantically and yelling as loud as I could above their noise. Of course, I knew they couldn't hear me, but they had to see that I was frantic. And the third person come around the corner later did stop. And that's
Mm.
when they turned around. They saw him stop, and everybody got together and talked
Wow.
to me. It was only 3 people. And yeah, that
What?
was the beginning of my rescue.
Okay, Rita, what was it like to actually, I guess you keep explaining you don't know if you were dreaming or not. I guess some of it becomes quite surreal. So
Yes.
you're thinking, am I really talking to people? Because you hadn't seen another human for 49 or 46 days after Albert left, um, or whatever that was, like 47 days. You hadn't seen another human. So what were you thinking? It was kind of surreal for you?
Oh, it was for the first few minutes, but then when they started sort of arguing with me, then I knew it was real because they didn't believe my story. I even shook my finger at them and says, "This is for sure real." And I brought my little notes out and I said, "See, I was here since this day."
Oh, and then did their eyes get big? Like, oh my
Yes,
gosh. Yeah,
yes. Then emotions set in, and they had tears, and they were feeling with me, and I totally lost my strength, and I just slumped down again, and I just was weak again. And
right,
so there I was, thinking, oh, finally somebody's here. And it
right,
was an emotional time, and they very quickly realized they needed to go get help.
right,
And I was
right.
very grateful that they were going for help. I wasn't scared that they were leaving me again. Many people say, why did they leave you alone? I says, I don't know, but I was glad they were going for help.
Right, right. Well,
Yeah.
what we're thinking is, oh my gosh, didn't you want to hang on to one of them so that they'd make sure you came back? But you had total faith that that had happened. They were coming back. Is that
Yeah.
right?
It it didn't occur to me. I
Oh,
just believed them.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think what's amazing too is God somehow gave you strength to stand at the van and scream or whatever you did. And then once they recognized and saw you and heard your story, you collapsed because
Yes.
you had super strength there for that 1 minute, for that one
Yeah.
minute to get the help that you needed.
Yeah.
That's amazing, amazing. So then
Mhm.
they went and got help. And then tell us about the helicopter, because I always loved the story where you told me that you looked up in front of the van and you said, God, if this would be a perfect place for the helicopter to land to rescue me. So tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about that.
Yes, that was just a few days before that. I was just having my little wandering up and down the little area in front of my van. I was getting 2 weeks to go for a hike. So I saw this beautiful sunshine and everything there. So I thought, this is the most beautiful place for the then for the helicopter to land, because obviously a plane can't land in this mountainous, bumpy place. There's the only little meadow there that was close by, and it would work. Just kind of making a bargain with the Lord. That would work. How about it?
He heard you.
And then
He
I
heard you.
and then I realized, I go, oh, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't tell you what to do, God. But I had a little chuckle there. But
and,
that's
and
where it landed.
yeah,
Oh, so awesome, so
oh,
awesome.
so awesome. And so tell us a little bit, because we were together all on that Mother's Day that many years ago. What was it like after all those days seeing your children? It must have just been like uh, surreal again, surreal,
It
because you had
was. It was.
what a
When you guys
joyous
showed
feeling.
up,
Mm.
yeah. When you guys showed up at the hospital there in Twin Falls, Idaho, I was just so thrilled to see family and so amazed that you'd all come together so quickly. It was beautiful, so
Yeah,
beautiful. And it was like I was having this beautiful dream. I was still so weak in bed there and just wondered if I was going to get well.
right, right, right. So that is a story that not any of us will probably ever go through. I had some